Good evening. It is June, and it is our live national conference call. And this evening, we're going to be talking about why doctors can't retire. My name is Sarah Tegender. I am the National Sales Manager for nutraMetrix and working with corporate for just a little over 2 years now. And I've been having a really great time partnered with nutraMetrix myself since 2006. nutraMetrix is a complete suite of customized cutting-edge solutions exclusively for health professionals. And we thank them for giving us the opportunity to be able to share this call as they are the sponsor of the call this evening. They have a wide variety of products and services to better serve patients, generate ancillary income for the practice, and we're always bringing relevant information and training because healthcare continues to be ever-changing. We really are working on changing the face of healthcare to fit the needs of both practitioners and patients one at a time. We started in 2014. We are a $40 million division of a bigger company that is actually celebrating its 25th anniversary this year. And we believe that patients should have access to recommendations for healthy living that promote optimal wellness. And we like that they do this from their trusted health professionals. So everything we do is focused on helping health professionals implement customized wellness programs to both benefit patients and practices. This is through science, nutrition, revolutionary technology, wellness-based education systems. We really do think that we are changing healthcare. Tonight I am joined by a very dynamic couple who now I do consider friends of mine as we continue to work and train together in the Northeast. This is Rebecca and Dr. Joseph Carfi. And Rebecca, for many years, worked in the business world and then raised her 2 children who are absolutely wonderful young adults now. And 6 years ago, she partnered with Market America as a nutraMetrix consultant. She grew continuously with the goal of developing residual income, right? And this would be quite useful for eventual retirement. And I know my family, we looked to do the same thing about 11 years ago, where I also have a father who is a medical doctor, just like Dr. Carfi. Dr. Carfi is a physician. He's board certified in physical medicine and rehabilitation, been in practice for 33 years, which I think is just wonderful. Dr. Carfi is also on staff at Winthrop University Hospital and a clinical assistant professor at Mount Sinai Medical Center in Manhattan. Maintains a busy practice, seeing patients, much of his time involved in the forensic side of medicine. And the Carfis are quite wonderful. They're always together, and that's why they have had such a successful marriage for the past 42 years. And in 2016, they earned the Northeast Region nutraMetrix Health Professional of the Year Award. And so when I was thinking of who to talk, popped into my mind. So Rebecca and Dr. Carfi, you guys still there with us?
Yeah.
Yep, we're here.
Awesome. Great. Let me just set the stage here. Because I did some research, and there was a report by the American Medical Association Council that a number of U.S. physicians aged 65 and older have quadrupled since 1975. And now numbers are at almost 250,000, 1/4 of all U.S. doctors. So 1/4 are at 65 and older. That's the age that they told me when I was in school, and you'll work until you're about 65, which is the age of retirement. So, you know, from a safety standpoint, there's a lot of studies out there about should physicians still be practicing, but that's not what the call that we're having tonight is a little bit more about, you know, just retirement. When I was preparing, I did a Google search. There's over 5 million articles that came up about doctors in retirement. So it's a hot topic, with more and more health professionals practicing well into their 70s and 80s. So, you know, I wanted just to talk about how your perspective has influenced your retirement plans and the plans you have for your family, and the same advice maybe you'd even give, you know, your children. And industry research is revealing that 84% of medical students graduate with student debt, averaging more than $176,000. And Dr. Carfi, I mean, I don't know if that's the same type of debt that you have from your time as school. And I know, Rebecca, you also hold some advanced degrees from RPI. And so I want to just first start by addressing the debt factor that health professionals are facing today. And that's before they take on major debt with just owning a medical practice. So I don't know who wanted to start with this one.
Well, that would be me. Good evening, everybody. First, Sarah, I'm a bit old in physician years, shall we say. So I'm blessed not to have been saddled with debt because back in my day, tuition was 10% of what it is today. And I'm sure all of you listening know that income has not increased 10 times in the same 40 years, and in general has not kept pace with the inflation of things and how much we have to spend for everything. Now, I can tell you that $176,000 that you alluded to in debt is not in the form of low-interest loans. And most young doctors these days, when they finish their education, they get a job. They work for a medical facility, a large group practice, hospital setting, some other business entity, and will have to pay down that debt as well as live on whatever their salary is. Now, if on the other hand, a doctor wants to be an entrepreneur, start a private practice, then that physician will have to secure a line of credit of at least $150,000 or more to go into further debt in order to establish that business. You got to have enough to get your equipment and carry your expenses until things turn profitable, which can take several months. And then that sets up the issue of servicing all that debt, paying the ongoing business expenses, and worrying about how much the insurance company is going to pay you or deny you with every billing cycle. So my situation is very different in that I'm, in essence, in the sunset of my career as opposed to the dawn. And Rebecca and I realized perhaps 7 to 10 years ago that between being young, fancy-free, and child-free for the first 16 years of our marriage, we didn't think much about the end game. And then a very expensive children came along, and that certainly precluded any savings. And now we're left with not very much put away for retirement. And then Rebecca discovered this business, and let me tell you, I always hitch my wagon to her train.
And is that also the same as your marriage advice? I think that, I hope my husband
We'll get to that.
Yeah, and it's making me a little bit nervous. I have 2 young children myself, so you're telling me that children are very expensive. I got to brace for that and put that into my plan. Absolutely. So, I mean, this is really interesting because in 1984, Medicare started paying hospitals by diagnosis-related groups, and hospital goals started to change lengths of stay, and they had to find a way to combat shrinking revenues from Medicare. So this has been going on now for over 30 years, and the shift landed on privately insured patients, and continues, I think, the burden to lie on the privately insured patients. Managed care replaced fee-for-service, and practicing physicians, not just the hospitals, really started to feel the heat. And each year, physicians' reimbursements go down, and managed care contracts are renegotiated. And I really think that physicians are losing autonomy. I don't know who can really comment on this. Maybe Rebecca, I don't know if you want to start.
Yep, I'll take this to start, Sarah. So I'm a businesswoman with a deep background in management and financial services. And when I saw the financials of this company with nonstop growth in revenue and income for 25 years, I was intrigued and had to learn how this was possible. No income statement I had ever seen looked like this. Certainly not in medicine. So with declining reimbursements, increased regulation, and escalating costs to handle collection of patient insurance payments, practice profitability has significantly declined, right? I mean, that's the environment. That, coupled with the concept of residual or ongoing income, was compelling to me as a numbers person, as a financial person. That was the number one thing that got my attention, was the financials. So really, no matter how large a private practice, hospital-based, or other type of medical practice, income is always a function of the number of patients seen, administrative and other costs. You simply cannot generate higher revenue without more patient visits. And, even with medical practices, income stops when you stop seeing patients, period. There's no residual or ongoing component. This is where we were at. So building an asset with residual income is what got me started in this business. And then I discovered nutraMetrix. Since my husband was a medical doctor with a private practice, nutraMetrix was a natural fit. So I asked him to take a look. Maybe dragged him into it. No, just kidding. Or at least I asked him to follow my lead. So that was awesome. So with minimal overhead or staffing requirements and the turnkey system that we have, which is designed to fit a practitioner's mission and vision, Dr. Carfi agreed that nutraMetrix would provide the added stream of income to improve practice profitability and thereby support our lifestyle and the plans that we had for retirement and our children's education costs, so they do not have loans. Pretty cool, huh? So, you can add fee-for-service streams such as our TLS weight loss solution, weight loss management program, gene snip, wellness consultations, and other things based on what makes sense for the practice. And so this is really giving health professionals another option to maintain independence. So it's a win-win-win as we're helping our patients, our staff, and certainly our families and ourselves. And through this process, the nutraMetrix consultant, like me, plays a pivotal role in designing and implementing a turnkey customized program to meet the doctor's practice goals. And then we also have we do ongoing monitoring, training, and support, which allows the revenue stream to grow without compromising patient care or increasing staffing costs.
So earlier, I mentioned that I was on the older side of things. In fact, I'm a dinosaur. And by that I mean my way of practice, booking one patient at a time, and yes, that's how I've done things, finding out about personal lives, taking my time, that's leading to extinction, frankly. The way I practice is going extinct. So, over time, physician reimbursements have declined, expenses have increased, your staff still wants their raises, your vendors increase their prices, the insurance companies keep cutting how much they pay you per service. Hiring and firing has become problematic due to regulations and political correctness. So what physicians are doing are selling their practices so as to transfer these headaches to some large and more powerful entity. And those who have a choice are retiring, just getting out. But how can we stay in our own business, keep control, practice where we want, the way we were trained? So nutritional supplementation, nutraceuticals, is a multi-billion-dollar industry for which people pay cash out of their pockets. And nutraMetrix specifically provides high-quality products. They're backed by research. And they have the proprietary isotonic delivery system, which is very unique. And most patients would rather be guided by the healthcare professional rather than some 20-something clerk at the local vitamin store as to what's best for them, for their health, given their various medical conditions, et cetera.
I say you guys just make really the perfect team when it comes to this and your perspectives on this. And I appreciate, how I think we're all getting in the information and how you're letting us know exactly how this is affecting your own practice and lives. And, medical professionals, especially Dr. Carfi, at your caliber, are really superb at practicing medicine, but running a business and understanding financials, I know at least for my dad, it's not something that he studied in school. And so I think that you guys, together, Rebecca and Dr. Carfi, I think it's the dream team as a couple with Rebecca's business background. And I know that you're setting yourself up for retirement success, but let's talk about your colleagues. Where are people getting financial advice, and how is it fall? I don't know who wants to take this one first.
Well, I'll start. Even though, as I said, I'm in the sunset of my career, I actually still do work full-time and a half. I don't know how to work other than to the best and to the most of my ability. That's just how I do things. So I do this, it's my own business. And so my time is actually quite limited to get involved in other things. And frankly, that does include nutraMetrix. So Rebecca really is the engine that drives this business. So how we make it work is that I enable Rebecca to do what she needs to do to make this business successful. So for you married couples out there, listen carefully. That translates into my not getting as much attention as I perhaps would like. But I do not give her a hard time. I do not make her feel guilty. I just say, you go, girl. I set up the office or the house for meetings. I do the supplies and food shopping. I load the car, whatever I can do to enable her to do what she does best. Now, specific to my skill set and what I can provide, I help by providing office staff to move product, to mail marketing materials, provide customer service support. I've done telephone calls, videos, educational materials for the Unlimited Lifestyles website. I go to meetings with Rebecca and help professionals if that's feasible. And so here I am tonight. So that's my contribution to the business.
Which is huge. Rebecca, do you agree?
Yeah,
I feel like I'm
absolutely. Yeah,
I appreciate all this advice.
Thank you, Dr. Carfi. You are and always have been my number one supporter and biggest fan. No wonder we've been married for 42 years. Actually, it's going to be 43 years in a few weeks. Crazy, huh?
Congrats.
Yeah, thank you. So, you talk about retirement, and how do people really go about getting advice for that? Well, traditional retirement advice centers on asset allocation based on age, tolerance for risk, and ability to save based on cost of living and life expectancy. The good news is that life expectancy has been rising, right? I mean, that's good news, right? The associated bad news is that the ability to isolate funds for saving and therefore financial asset development has been declining. So, for example, just, some rough numbers, to earn an additional $18,000 a year to put away or to use or $1,500 a month, you would have to have $900,000 in an account earning 2% a year. I don't know about you, I get less than 2% in the bank presently. But just on an overall basis, and this skyrockets to $5.5 million in the bank in asset value if you want to earn, say, over $100,000, like $110,000 a year. And this keeps the asset value intact rather than drawing it down. But that's really a lot for most practitioners to save. So, in today's environment, between student loans, practice loans, ongoing costs of running a practice, housing, household expenses, there's really little, if anything, left over to save, and therefore generally not really feasible to build such a substantive asset. So in this kind of environment, the present environment, an additional stream of income or source of revenue is often the most realistic option to accrue the funds needed to retire. So, this is really where nutraMetrix comes into play. So with nutraMetrix, the practitioner can develop an asset through a customized business system that provides the best products for their patients, so supports their wellness goals, and provides an ongoing residual income similar to an investment account without having to save the principal. That is huge. So in my opinion, this program is certainly worth consideration. I can easily design a process and systems to support nutraMetrix implementation into a practice. I mean, obviously I have a degree in systems. However, the nutraMetrix program, including both the consultant and health professional training, which my husband and I have both taken, we are given a track to run on. So each consultant can properly support the unique requirements of a practice. You don't have to have a master's degree in computer science, and you don't have to be a systems geek like me to make this work. Health professionals are trained on products and consultants on having financial conversations with practitioners and using a proven, stable system to customize an implementation for an office. So health professionals are really embracing nutraMetrix in droves today. So what we need is we need to continue to identify and train those who would want to work with the health professionals as consultants. That's really important.
So, I mean, I'm getting like a crash course in finances at the same time, so I appreciate that. I mean, I think my grandparents were always told you have $1 million in the bank, and so I think that they taught my parents, you know, as baby boomers, that generation, you know, have $1 million in the bank. But I know I just had a conversation with my parents, and they said, you know, they're going to need to realistically have $5 million in the bank at time of retirement. And so, I mean, for my generation, which is whatever they're calling us, I guess, Generation X, you know, what is that going to be? Is it going to be $10 million? And, you know, we're looking at $1,500 of discretionary income to have that $5 million asset, you know, with $3,000 in discretionary income, you know, where is even $1,500 coming from? And so, you know, when I was doing the research on this topic, I was reading from many experts, and some were saying, you know, invest this percent, and others were saying a different percent. It just seems so contradictory. And, you know, what rate we need to have an appropriate retirement fund. And, you know, again, folks who have discretionary income, sure, that's great. But, you know, we're looking at people, you know, friends my age have 6 figures in student loans, and that's just nuts. You know, so Americans, I think, you know, no matter what profession, are lacking discretionary income. But it is really neat that nutraMetrix is developing a plan that's specifically helping health professionals plan for retirement. So I don't know if we could get even into, you know, here you talk a little bit in themes, and I think that's great. But I don't know, do you have any more specifics that you might want to share with us?
Well, I mean, you know, traditionally you would allocate a certain portion of the income that you bring into the practice into a 401k, but it's, you know, it's really the same thing. You're still looking at what are the expenses that you have, you know, what are the loans that you have to carry the practice, what are the ongoing expenses, and you still have to have the money at the end of the day to put into the account to save. And if you're not there, and I think, you know, whether it's a practice or an individual today, people are really struggling, practices are really struggling to even just make ends meet. And saving for retirement is a great goal, but unless you work for a large healthcare facility and they have a great retirement plan, and honestly, I don't know of any out there that do today, you know, you're just not saving enough money for retirement. And I mean, my 23-year-old said to me, and he's got a great first job, you know, that it occurs to him that everybody really needs multiple streams of income. I think it's true for health professionals as well. And the nutraMetrix program and implementing this into a practice is apart from the revenue that comes in from the insurance companies, and it's that fee-for-service opportunity where, you know, patients, as Dr. Carfi was saying, they are paying for supplements, they're paying for these services out of their pocket. It's not going through insurance, although we even have an insurance-based option for our weight management program. But most of these things, patients are going out, they're going to a vitamin shop, they're going to GNC, and they're buying these things anyway. So, and they would prefer to get them from their healthcare professional. So, you know, I think that everyone really needs to have this as an option today.
Yeah. And I mean, so when you're doing this and you're creating these plans, you know, you alluded to this before. Could you speak a little bit more towards, you know, the system that nutraMetrix has, and then even just beyond nutraMetrix, what else health professionals can roll out with?
Sure. Okay. Well, the nutraMetrix proposal for the health professional practitioner is really developed in conjunction with in mind what the mission and vision is for the practice and the associated goals. So when we're doing the design, we would determine the products that are consistent with the typical patient conditions, the patient demographics of the practice, And then we would roll out a phased implementation, a phased plan, where we would be measuring the results against the goals and the program adjusted accordingly. We could add additional products or services, all based on the results, to create the desired income stream. And there's even a program to benefit from the spending that the practice or household is already doing. I mean, this is crazy, for whether they're buying office supplies, cleaning supplies, electronics, food, and frankly, everything. After all, we all spend money, so why not have a chance to save a portion of what we're already spending and earn at the same time? And this is really a revolutionary concept, I think. It's run out of the parent company, and it's called the shopping annuity. And I'm confident that the shopping annuity will become a household term in the not-too-distant future, just as cashback is today. It's a term, cashback actually is a term that was largely unknown in the marketplace when we opened our nutraMetrix account. However, cashback was in the forefront of this company at that time, clearly ahead of the curve. So in my opinion, it's a huge advantage to be aligned with a company that's run by a visionary, positioning us with cutting-edge, science-based, demand-driven products and innovative services. This gives us a substantial competitive advantage, and we're helping patients while generating an ancillary income for the practice. So to me, this really is a win-win-win-win-win-win-win.
So this business, nutraMetrix business overall, is helping us personally, because now we have less worry about having saved enough money for retirement to do the things that we would like to do, maintain our lifestyle. nutraMetrix provides a residual income from an ongoing business supporting our retirement, as opposed to interest or dividend income from whatever investments that we might have, as well as spending down the 401ks. And so, by the way, it provides a way for us workaholics to keep working in a forum for socializing with great people, attend exciting meetings, and simply be involved. A very active retirement indeed.
And I feel the same way, Dr. Carfi. I feel so, just honored to be able to have friends like you and Rebecca, people who, can continue to guide me and mentor me and lift me up as we continue this conversation, because it's a very real conversation. I think you guys brought up some great themes, because whether you're listening to this call live or recorded, and whether you are a health professional or looking at this in the terms of a potential as a consultant, we're looking towards the future. And it's, sometimes for some people it's right now money. And I know, at least in the landscape where I'm from in the Boston area, a lot of private practitioners were forced to close doors or sell to the hospital, and not something that they necessarily wanted to do. And then there's people that, what do I need to do to get to that retirement stage, and what can I do now to set myself up and my family? And so I think all your advice was really prudent. And I think that anyone, again, whether it's a health professional or potential consultant, should just, do, I think, what the three of us did, which is do our due diligence on not just nutraMetrix, but also the parent company, Market America. And I would say that the best next step, as we're here in June of 2017, would be to evaluate where we're going over the next 25 years. We have a great opportunity coming up in August with our 25th convention, and 25th anniversary, that's the word I was looking for, 25th anniversary convention. And I think that if you could potentially even find a ticket to that and to evaluate it. I know that's what my family did before we decided, this is something that we're going to invest in, because, it is one of those things that it doesn't take what a traditional investment takes. It doesn't take a lot of money in the bank, but I think it takes something that's sometimes even more precious than that. And I think, you said it, I think a lot of us, Dr. Carfi, can be workaholics. And, I know as myself having a brand new baby, the one thing that's so precious to me right now is time. And so, you have to take a little bit of time to figure out if this is something for you, time to lay the foundation, time to get trained. But it's such a short amount of time in the bursts that then can set you up to have a lot more time later. And that's, I think, what everyone's thinking in the back of their mind when they think of retirement. You know, it's not stopping, it's just freeing up some of your time. And so it's great because I know that the two of you, as you end up having more and more time together, it's also great when you can partner with your partner, and it does sound like the two of you are best friends. So I know when that day comes, Dr. Carfi, if we ever can get you away from your work, and Rebecca, I know that you have a lot of folks that you support that does take you, you know, out of your house, and we do appreciate that. But I know that once you guys do, as you continue to spend more time together, I'm going to have fun watching you, because the two of you are going to have a lot of fun. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
And,
You're very welcome.
Yeah, I just want to thank you for being on the call this evening. And I hope that you continue, if you're listening to this, to join our monthly calls. And for our upcoming topics, just send an email to webinars@nutraMetrix.com, and we'll see you on the next one. Have a great evening, everyone.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.